Gujarat Innovation Society as well, now the Gujarat GIS Foundation. And we are going to hear some very interesting, topic that is very, very, vital, not only for today, but even for the coming days. And especially it is more important during this COVID crisis. So I think I'll not take much of a time. Jaimin bhai, over to you straight away.
Thank you, Bharat bhai. I think our chairman is not there, Mr. Sunil Shah. Our Bharat bhai is our vice chairman, few board members, and dear participants. Thanks for inviting me for this important webinar to speak on the subject, global healthcare, pharmaceutical industry, based on the India perspective. Friends, to start my deliberation, I would like to give some details of global pharmaceutical industry analysis and trends. As we all know, pharmaceutical industry is growing not only in India, but all over the world. Not because of COVID, but because of the various reasons. And global pharmaceutical market is expected to grow in the upcoming years despite recent slowdown in key markets across the globe. Why slowdown? Because the health awareness is being increased all over the world. The reasons are simple: aging and growing population. And now why there is an increase? That aging and growing population, rising income levels, and emerging medical conditions and emergence of the new disease. Now, as per the research, the global pharmaceutical industry will be worth $1.57 trillion by 2023, and the growth in this market is predicted. 3 to 6% growth is already predicted on the basis of various factors like market drivers, current and upcoming trends, current growth pattern, and market challenges. As we all know, North America is expected to retain its leading position in the global pharmaceutical market, with market share almost around 45.33% will be in 2023, improving on its market share compared to 2017. Now, Europe, on the contrary, is expected to see a decline in its market share compared to 2017 and be worth 20.24% of global pharma industry. Asia Pacific pharmaceuticals industries market is expected to retain its second position with a market share of around 24.79% in 2023. And again, Latin America and Middle East and Africa, which is called MEA countries, are expected to retain 7.53% and 2.96% market share of the global pharmaceutical market in 2023. Now, this growth is again fueled by the growing and aging population in key markets. As per the World Population Prospects by United Nations, the worldwide population is likely to cross 9.3 billion by 2050, and around 21% of this population is expected to be the age 60 and above. Now, apart from aging and rising population, the improvements in purchasing power and access to the quality healthcare and pharmaceutical to poor and middle class families worldwide also is driving this growth of global pharma industry. Another aspect which is leading this growth is rising focus on pharmaceuticals. Companies to tap the rare and specialty disease market. Innovations in advanced biologies, nucleic acid therapies, and cell therapies, and bioelectronics and impediments has attracted investments in the industry by even non-pharma companies like Facebook and Qualcomm, etc., which is also a driving the global pharmaceuticals industry's growth. On the other hand, adoption of cost control policies along with tightening of the rules by the governments in key markets are expected to impact the growth prospect of this global pharmaceutical industry. Now, pharmaceutical companies are forced to reduce their research and development. They are reducing their R&D spending due to slowdown of growth in last few years, which is also expected to hamper the growth of global pharmaceutical industries. As the new market, as the new drugs revenue form a large part of pharma firms' revenue due to the exclusivity of the drug. Now, apart from this, generics pharma market is facing decreasing return on investment. That the return on investment is slowly and gradually is getting decreased. So, due to the price erosion in key markets, which is forcing many firms to look for other avenues and markets to sustain their own growth. Now, market research report coverage global pharmaceutical industry of analysis and trends of 2023 covers the growth forecast for almost 39 countries along with 5 major geographic regions. In the Asia Pacific region, growth forecasts are provided for Australia, China, India, Japan, and South Korea. And in the Europe region, the growth forecasts are provided for France, Germany, Italy, Russia, Spain, and United Kingdom. And in the Middle East and Africa, MEA, that is called region countries, growth forecasts are provided for Algeria, Bahrain, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, Jordan, Kenya, Kuwait, Lebanon, Morocco, and Saudi Arabia. Senegal, South Africa, Tunisia, Turkey, and UAE. And in the Latin America, the region growth forecasts are provided for Bolivia, Brazil, Costa Rica, Chile, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Mexico, Paraguay, Peru, and Uruguay. And in the North America region, the growth forecast is for Canada and USA. Friends, the report identifies the growth drivers and inhibitors for global pharmaceuticals market. The report identifies various risks associated with global pharmaceutical market, and this report has detailed profiles of 10 key players in global pharmaceutical market, covering their business strategy, financial performance, and future forecast, competitive landscape, SWOT analysis, etc. Now, looking back again to the global pharmaceutical market is expected to overcome $1.5 trillion by 2023 from its current $1.2 trillion by 2018 at an annual growth rate of 3 to 6%. And this increase should be paralleled by the increase in the number of launched products. How many products they are launching, it all depends upon this growth. Now, competition in biosimilars is also, this increase should be parallelized by the increase in the number of launched products that might reach to 54 numbers by 2023. And this competition in biosimilar is also expected to increase by 3 times, while specialty share of total medicine spending will reach to 50% by 2023 in most developed markets. And these scenarios are illustrated by the recent IQVIA Institute of Human Data Science report, The Global Use of Medicine in 2019 and Outlook for 2023. Now, what is the emerging trends and technology? The digital revolution and the availability of a newer and improved biotechnological technologies is going to change the profundity, the way medicine is predicted and practiced. Now, US market, let us see the US market. The US market is expected to evolve faster, 4 to 7% growth compared to the top 5 European countries. That is, they are between 1 to 4%. And Japan emerging countries should also play an important role, say around 5 to 8% among these last ones. Now, Chinese market should reach a value of 140 to 150 billion dollars. Even their growth is declining to 3 to 6%. Turkey, Egypt, and Pakistan surprisingly are expected to experience a very huge and great growth in the next 5 years, while China, Brazil, India maintain by now the greater medicine spending. The launch of new innovative medicinal products shall be the main driver for the developed countries, coupled to improved access to the emergencies ones. Again, biosimilars will gain an increasingly important role, especially in the US, while the European scenario is dominated by the policies to contain the cost of healthcare systems. Again, the question comes in pricing. Pricing still remains a very hot issue on the ongoing US debacle, and it is subject to complex dynamics involving different phases between manufacturer, government, and public and private players. That is a big issue and big journey and big channel in US market. So net price for manufacturers increased at an estimated 1.5% in which was in 2018 and are expected to rise at 0 to 3% over the next 5 years. Now, let us see the Indian scenario of Indian pharmaceutical industry. There is a huge opportunity for the Indian pharmaceutical industry to play a very big role, very large role in global drug supply security. In 1969, see the scene. In 1969, Indian pharmaceutical had a only 5% share of the market in India and global pharma, and global pharma had a 90% share in India. And what happened in by 2020? It was the reverse, with Indian pharma having almost 85% share and global company has only 15% share in the Indian market. Over the last 50 plus years, in terms of both meeting and domestic needs, as well as building a leading position in the global pharmaceutical landscape, Indian have been successful. India already contributes over 20% by value to the global generics market, with Indian products contributing over 40% by volume of US drugs. See, now in US, 20% by value and 40% by volume, Indian companies contribute. This COVID-19 crisis provides even bigger opportunity to the Indian pharmaceutical industry to play an even more important role in global healthcare. There is a potential to truly play the role of pharmacy of the world. How can this happen? How can the pharmacy industry in India can use this opportunity to leapfrog into the future using the impetus provided by this COVID-19? So this problem we are converting into the opportunity. The Indian pharma industry has been growing steadily for the past few years. As seen in the table, the industry in India is worth around $37 billion, with exports accounting to around $18 billion. Interestingly, the price of medicine in India are among the lowest in the world, partly because they are characterized by the very high competition. We can, again, on the whole, the analysis of Indian pharmaceutical industry reveals a highly competitive industry structure, and based on the standard economic theories, the competitive market structure should lead to market clearing prices and increase consumer surplus. If a consumer is a surplus, they will buy the medicine. With increased competition comes an automatic downward price pressure. So if any manufacturer wants their products to buy, they need to have a very competitive price structure. Friends, the report shows that 11% of the formulation in India are under the price point of rupees 5. There are studies which document that prices of Indian generic medicines are among the lowest in the world. Now, how does this help at this time of COVID-19 despite having some of the lowest price? I'm talking about the production boost. How can we boost the production? When we have lowest price in the world, despite having the lowest price, leading Indian firms have the capacity not only to serve the Indian market for essential drugs, but also they can supply the world. So we should use this opportunity to increase the production leaps and bounds of drugs in India by supporting and streamlining pharmaceutical manufacturing through initiatives such as consistent implementation of policies on manufacturing personnel movement across the states, including formal notification to all the state governments and local authorities, and consistent implementation of policies across all state. Governments should form that kind of uniform policy to ensure the streamlined logistics for pharmaceutical market, as for example, movement across the borders and support to ancillary supplies, say example, packaging material, solvents, chemicals, so far to the pharmaceutical manufacturers. The low price make the drugs acceptable everywhere in the world with quality that is enforced by the US FDA. You know that India has the largest number of US FDA approved plants in the world, which has a reputation for top-notch standard, because we follow a top-notch standards, and India will be able to supply the quality medicines at a low price. Now, second point is to increase production, the governments needs to launch a targeted financial incentives to promote the manufacturing of the diagnostic kits and other medical devices, especially given that the raw material for manufacturing of these medical devices is heavily dependent on imports. And this is also an opportunity to bring a much larger proportion of manufacturing of APIs back into the India, because we are heavily dependent on China, and government is focusing, supporting and enforcing that most of the APIs can be manufactured in India, so that country is not dependent on imports of a critical inputs. If we talk about medical devices, you can see that ventilators are being manufactured in India, PPE kits are being manufactured in India. We were importing, now it is being manufactured in India. Now, in this connection, the government decision to promote domestic manufacturing key starting materials, intermediates and APIs through the setting up of bulk drug parks and production. Government is setting up the bulk drug plant and parks to produce APIs and giving lot of support to API manufacturer so that they can become very much competitive, so that our formulation manufacturers are also competitive in the world. So it is a very welcome policy by the government for the industry, and going forward, India's self-reliance in pharmaceutical manufacturing can be further enhanced by providing incentives and support to API and intermediates, that is key starting materials, such as and a provision of by making an SEZ for manufacturing bulk drugs. So again, to bring down the cost of production. Research. Now, we should increase the research. Third, the Indian pharma industry is now at the cusp of developing a new molecules for treatment of various medical conditions at scale. Many Indian firms already have molecules in clinical trials. Developing a new drugs cost now to develop the new drug, it costs money, and the government needs to provide the conditions for sufficient so that RN we can pursue, we can increase the producing new drugs for India and for the world. At this time, Indian medicine prices are already, again I told you, amongst the lowest in the world. And in addition, research evidence from, it's an evidence from IIM Ahmedabad based on data from 2011 to 2018, almost 108 molecules suggest that the price control has not increased access and affordability. There is thus a need to a very fine-tune the drug pricing policy to generate enough surpluses to invent new molecules so that the profits are increased, so they can go for research and they can invent the new molecules, keeping the price levels as reasonable as possible with the objective of providing the affordable medicine to the people. In this connection, the government can boost Indian pharma R&D by implementing the streamlined and accelerated regulatory and testing pathways for all drugs, including those for COVID-19, and the increase in overall innovation and R&D. This is very important, can provide a long-term thrust to the Indian pharmaceuticals. And these three recommended moves enable these are encouraged for R&D expenses and outcomes, increase in availability of the funding for R&D, and creation of a closer cooperation process between the public institution like CSR laboratories and NIPERs with private R&D. The industry has already taken some significant steps during the COVID-19 crisis by providing the drugs. As you know that Indian manufacturers has provided HCQ to 55 countries, hydrochloroquines to 55 countries, that includes USA. And also we have also mask, N95 mask also we have started manufacturing. We have also started manufacturing PPI kit also, and even antibody kit also has been manufactured now in India also. So, and now you will surprise, there is going to be a big news that shortly India will be the first to invent the vaccine for COVID-19. So industry has already taken some significant steps, and this initiative can be made much more broad-based by launching a structured export incentive plan for Indian pharmaceutical manufacturers to promote greater supply of drugs to the global industry. So there is an opportunity for the Indian pharmacy industry to play a very big role in ensuring global drug supply security, and potential financial incentives can play a significant role. And this is, of course, subject to the availability of essential medicine in India at a reasonable cost. Friends, so the Indian pharmacy industry is a strategic industry for the nation with the advantage of scale. That is 37 billion in 2019-20. It contributed 1.5% to the GDP directly, with another 3% coming indirectly. The industry also has a global reach and is a net foreign exchange earner of more than $10 billion annually. Now, pharma can do for India what software was able to do in the 1990s and 2000. So India became the back office. So let this be the moment of triggers and the acceleration of the moment to becoming India as a pharmacy to the world. Now let us see the Gujarat position. Gujarat pharma industries at the forefront of the growth. Gujarat pharma industry is the forefront of the growth in the pharmacy industry in India, in Gujarat. If India has to become a strong, Gujarat, they can become strong only if Gujarat becomes strong. Gujarat accounting for nearly 42% share of Indian pharmaceutical turnover and 22% of drug exports and 20% of chemicals output. Gujarat pharmacy industry has evolved into an innovation-driven, knowledge-focused industry. Going forward, to attain a leading position in the global pharma industry, Gujarat would have to develop into an ideal location for global clinical research avid competitor in CRAMS and center of excellence for overall pharmaceutical development. Further, the state will also have to capitalize on emerging opportunity such as medical tourism, contract research, and pharmaceutical machinery manufacturing, which is a key requirement. So key to this process will be building a global competitiveness. So everything is a backward integration, uh, developing a strong talent pool and adopting a conductive global market mindset also. We have a many educational institutions in pharmacy industry. So we have a skill manpower. So Gujarat has everything which is a can become a very big these things. Brother, big kilo time जी अपने पास है?
Tapan bhai, I think 20 minutes back hai.
Okay. Okay. So these are all the variables. Only thing the government needs to support this crucial government of India and government of Gujarat should support manufacturing and pharmacy industry so that they can become the pharmacy of the world and they can supply a quality medicine to the world at a very low cost. And thanks to the pharmacy industry of India that we are trying very hard to bring out the solution for this COVID-19. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to give my views about this pharmaceutical industry. Thank you.
I think it was wonderful. I am sure this is a capsule meeting is too short for the knowledge which we could extract out of you. But I think you touched upon very, very important points right from the global pharmaceutical industry to Indian pharmaceutical to Gujarat pharmaceutical industry. And we are proud that we being in Gujarat, which is contributing 42%, is an enormous big number. And what you rightly also said, the global quality healthcare is right in the center of the whole thing, and that is where the overall pharma industry is going to have a major growth. And if it is reaching 1.5 trillion in 2023, I think it's an amazing growth, which is what is going to be witnessing. So I think, and what you rightly said, the policies which the government is making to make India more Atmanirbhar, I think that is also very, very important, and not being dependent on countries like China
Because
for the APIs.
today we are depending on 60% raw material, active pharma raw material from China.
Exactly.
So
Once we make the
recently,
APIs
yesterday announced that they are increasing the raw material price by 20%.
Oh, I see. So I think this is where we can really become self-reliant. And what you also mentioned was very important about the collaborative R&D approaches by educational institution and other institutions. I think that is one very, very important thing which we need to all look into, how we can all collaborate for this. I think that's in the submission, and technology is what is driving it, which I'm glad upon. So I think there is nothing more. We can't take questions and answers in this short capsule meet. I thank you, Jaimin bhai, once again, and thank you all the viewers who have joined today with us. And this is going to be on the Facebook and other social media as well for those who have missed it out. Thank you once again, and we'll catch up once again on next Thursday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.